Have you ever felt completely alone, even when you're surrounded by people? Maybe you're sitting in a crowded room. People are talking, phones are buzzing, life is happening all around you. But inside, you feel invisible, disconnected, like you're watching everything from behind glass. That feeling, you're not imagining it. And you're definitely not alone in feeling alone. Right now, as you're reading this, millions of people across the United States are experiencing exactly that same feeling every single day. But here's what makes this truly alarming. Scientists and public health experts no longer see loneliness as just a passing emotion or a temporary state of mind. It is now being recognized and treated as a serious public health crisis, one that affects not only how people feel emotionally, but how they function physically, mentally, and even how long they live. Let me put this into perspective. According to reports from the American Psychological Association, nearly half of American adults say they feel lonely on a regular basis. That's not a small number. That's tens of millions of people struggling silently every day. And data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that approximately 1 in 3 adults experiences social isolation, meaning they lack meaningful, consistent human connection in their daily lives. This is no longer just a personal problem. It's not about having a bad day or going through a rough phase. It's a pattern, a widespread and growing condition that's affecting modern society as a whole. So what's actually causing this epidemic? One major factor is simply the way we live now. Over the past decade, our daily lifestyles have fundamentally changed. People are spending more time alone than at any other point in human history. The rise of remote work has eliminated daily face-to-face interaction for millions. More people are living alone than ever before, and traditional forms of community, neighborhood gatherings, religious institutions, local clubs, are rapidly disappearing. The simple act of connecting with another human being has been completely transformed. But if we're being honest, there's an even bigger factor at work here: technology. Here's the paradox. We live in the most connected era in history. We can video call someone on the other side of the planet. We can message 100 people before breakfast. We're never more than a few taps away from thousands of contacts. And yet, we've never felt more alone. Multiple scientific studies have demonstrated that higher levels of social media use are directly correlated with increased feelings of loneliness and isolation. These platforms, designed to bring people together, often end up doing the exact opposite. They replace deep, meaningful relationships with superficial interactions. Likes, comments, endless scrolling through curated highlight reels. These aren't substitutes for real emotional connection. They're digital distractions from it. In other words, we're more connected than ever before, in a technical sense, but we're less connected where it actually matters, on a genuine human level. And the consequences of this shift are far more serious than most people realize. The mental health impacts are well documented. Loneliness has been strongly linked to depression, anxiety, and chronic stress. But it doesn't stop there. The physical effects are just as severe. Large-scale medical studies show that prolonged loneliness can significantly increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, weaken immune system function, disrupt normal sleep patterns, and contribute to cognitive decline. In fact, some researchers now compare the long-term health risks of chronic loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day or being clinically obese. Let that sink in for a moment. A feeling, something completely invisible, can damage your physical body as severely as a well-known harmful habit. On a global scale, research from organizations like the OECD indicates that loneliness is associated with hundreds of thousands of premature deaths every single year. It reduces productivity in workplaces, hampers educational achievement, and diminishes overall quality of life across entire populations. Loneliness isn't just a psychological issue. It's economic, it's social, it's structural. It's woven into the very fabric of how modern society operates. So the question scientists and policymakers are now asking is obvious. Can we actually fix this? Over the years, researchers have tested various interventions: social skills training programs, cognitive behavioral therapy, community building initiatives, increasing opportunities for in-person interaction. Some of these approaches show promise. Others produce mixed or disappointing results. The truth is, what works for one person may not work for another. There is no universal solution, And now, in an ironic twist, technology is re-entering the conversation, this time not as the cause of the problem, but as a potential solution. Some researchers are exploring whether artificial intelligence could help reduce loneliness through digital companionship. AI chatbots that can hold conversations, virtual companions that are always available, systems designed to provide emotional support on demand. But early research reveals something important. For some people, especially those with severe social anxiety or physical limitations, AI companions can provide genuine comfort and reduce feelings of isolation. But for others, particularly those who need to rebuild real-world social skills, relying on AI may actually deepen their loneliness by providing an easy escape from the harder work of forming genuine human connections. This tells us something crucial about loneliness itself. It's not simply about being physically alone, it's about not feeling understood, not feeling valued, not feeling truly seen by another person. It's about the absence of authentic connection, the kind that happens when two human beings genuinely understand each other. And that's something no algorithm, no matter how sophisticated, can authentically replicate. So where does that leave us? As of 2026, research in psychology and behavioral science is advancing on multiple fronts. Scientists are developing better ways to measure loneliness using real-world behavioral data. They're identifying high-risk groups with greater accuracy, and they're working on more personalized, targeted interventions that address individual needs rather than applying blanket solutions. Interestingly, one of the most vulnerable groups is young adults, the very generation that grew up most immersed in digital technology. Despite being the most connected generation in history, they report some of the highest rates of loneliness, which raises a final uncomfortable question. Are we actually more isolated than previous generations? Or have we simply lost the skills and perhaps the courage to form deep, meaningful connections in an increasingly fast-paced, digital-first world? The answer is probably both. Science is still working to understand the full scope of this crisis. But one thing has become undeniably clear. Loneliness is no longer an invisible problem. It's one of the most silent, most widespread, and most dangerous public health crises of our time. And addressing it will require something technology alone cannot provide: the willingness to prioritize genuine human connection over digital convenience, to choose vulnerability over perfection, to invest time in relationships that take effort to build and maintain. Because at the end of the day, we're not just facing a loneliness epidemic, we're facing a connection crisis. And the solution won't come from the next app, the next platform, or the next technological innovation. It will come from us, choosing to show up for each other in real, meaningful, and deeply human ways. That's where the answer has always been. And that's where it still is.